Hello everybody, and welcome into OGP once again. I'm Michael, and I'm joined here by Jordan.
Hello.
How's it going, Jordan?
Pretty good.
Alright, let's get right into it with the classic segment of the show, what we've been playing. And I don't have much to say on this front, because what I've been playing sort of ties into the Nintendo Direct discussion we're going to have. But I did want to give a special mention to one game, and I didn't play much of it.
Okay.
But it is fascinating. So I wanted to bring it up. That's Quest for Camelot.
Yeah, because that's on the Switch Game Boy Online now.
Yeah, they just added that North America only, which is a rarity in and of itself.
Yeah, which I'm not surprised entirely by that, though.
True. And it's also a tie-in game, which is also kind of rare. I think GoldenEye's the only other one
I think so.
on there right now. And maybe most shocking of all is just how bad this game is.
I tried a little bit of it too, and it's not good.
It's really bad. It's like a sort of Zelda-ish thing, but like super poorly optimized for the Game Boy. You'll talk to someone and the whole game will just kind of pause.
Yeah, kind of lock up for a second before moving on.
And the opening is just total silence.
It's just text.
I thought it was like glitched. I really did.
Yeah.
But no, it's just supposed to be that way. Legitimately shocking that they put this on there. I wonder what the reasoning is.
Wasn't it published by Nintendo?
Nintendo helped develop it.
Oh yeah, they helped develop it too. That's right.
Which, that must have been like the D team involved in this
I guess,
one.
Yeah.
Very odd. But that's all I've really been playing outside of our Nintendo Direct discussion. So why don't you go?
Yeah, I've only got a handful myself. The two that I've beaten just recently have been the Wii version of Klonoa, which is pretty good, as well as the trilogy version of Metroid Prime 1.
Oh, cool.
I started 2, but I wasn't feeling it at the moment, so I kind of put that down for a bit.
Did you get the remaster for Switch?
No, I did not. I thought about it, but I'm like, I've already got the trilogy. I don't know if I want to spend more on it, but
it is very nice visually on Switch. But
and then I've been playing it over the past few weeks, like on and off, which is the leaked Pokemon Picross. I was playing through that again.
The translation that's out there?
Yeah.
That's such a cool game that we just
so good.
By some miracle have now.
And like it's never going to be officially released, but like
no.
And then I've also been playing quite a bit of Fallout New Vegas actually on PC.
Oh, very cool, very cool. How are you enjoying that so far?
I'm liking it. I think I only have like 2 vilified factions, being Caesar's Legion and the Powder Gangers.
Is this your first experience sort of with a Bethesda game like that?
First full experience, I'd say, because I played a little bit of Skyrim, and it just didn't really catch me with that.
Sure.
So
as far as Fallout goes, I played a little bit of Fallout 3, and it seemed intriguing, but I just was not able to really put enough time aside to get invested in it.
There's a lot of time needed with these games.
And then also a very little bit of Fallout Shelter, if you remember that one.
I did play a little bit of that as well when they put it on Switch.
I think it's the only Fallout thing on Switch currently.
It is.
Still. Is that all we got for games we played? Wow, we're getting rid. This is going to be a fast episode.
Yeah.
So, as of recording this, the Nintendo Direct was 3 days ago, I think. And it was, in my opinion, very much a Direct that you would expect right before new hardware gets announced. Like, we're kind of wrapping things up. A lot of remakes, not a lot of huge, like, AAA announcements, but still a lot of cool stuff. I think a really interesting element of this Direct, though, was that almost every major announcement, save for one, was totally correctly leaked prior to the Direct. I don't know if you saw any of this.
I saw a couple of them, at least.
So there's a Twitter user named Pyoro, and they leaked the Mario Wonder reveal early. And this time they leaked Metroid F-Zero 99, the name of the Princess Peach game.
Yeah, as I say, I thought I did see that one.
The Another Code remakes, and Mario vs. Donkey Kong.
Okay.
So like a lot of the big surprises for this Direct were just publicly known a week in advance. And I think that's really interesting. I don't know if we've ever had a situation like that where there's just a guy that we knew reliably would tell us all the Nintendo Direct details this far out. And that did affect my enjoyment of the Direct itself slightly, because as soon as the like Mario vs. Donkey Kong announcement hit, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I know pretty much everything that's going to be in this. Still, I do think it, in a weird way, helped with expectations management.
Right.
And I didn't, go in expecting what we've all been hearing rumors about now for years, which is a 3D Donkey Kong game by the Odyssey developers.
Right.
I think that just might be bullshit at this point.
Yeah, probably.
But with that being said, let's get into it. So the Direct opened with Splatoon 3 DLC, and I don't have a ton to say about this. It looks like it's sort of in the vein of the Octo expansion to some degree. The big takeaway for me is this isn't releasing until spring 2024.
Oh, I say, honestly, I didn't watch that portion of it.
You didn't even see that?
Well, because like I saw it, I'm like, oh, I don't play Splatoon. Like, I'll just skip through it. So,
I mean, it looks fine enough.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that this DLC is taking this long to come out.
Yeah,
I feel like it was
that is
announced
surprising.
like a year ago or something.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since this was first announced. Not much more to say about that. Looks fine.
Yeah.
Then we had the Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake, which is interesting because on our previous episode, I was talking about how I was playing through this.
Yeah. I was sitting like, I was
Advance.
like, wait a second. It's like he's been playing that recently. I'm like, well, hold on a second.
Yeah, it's because I actually knew about this
Of course.
all months in advance.
Of course, from John Nintendo himself.
John Nintendo himself, yeah. So I'm of kind of two minds about this. I would have much preferred a Donkey Kong 94 remake.
Yeah.
Because that is my favorite of the two. However, in a way, this game needs a remake more because I think there's more problems with it. And
Fair, yeah.
I can get into. I've been playing this a ton, especially after the Direct announcement came out. I'm like, okay, let me give this a bit more of a chance. Here's a few things that I think they could update to make the game a little bit better. The big one is just how Mario controls.
Yeah,
There's
kind
some
of the-
inconsistencies here. So if you jump and your head hits the ceiling, you like kind of right up against it, and then you fall the normal distance that you were jumping. But if you like do a handstand jump and hit the ceiling, then Mario's momentum is canceled. So there's an
Yeah.
inconsistency with how the physics are applied between Mario's different movements, and I'm not a big fan of that. Along with the handstand thing, there's another element to this. So in DK94, and I think it's fair to compare these, by the way, because Mario vs. Donkey Kong really is like a sequel to that game.
or at least like a spiritual successor.
Yeah, for sure. When you do your handstand thing in that game, you get all this horizontal movement like a normal jump, and it allows for some really cool platforming where, I don't want to jump too high, but I
Right.
want to get that horizontal distance so I can use this, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I love about DK94 is that even though it's a 2D platformer, the movement is so expressive.
Yeah, it is really good.
In Mario vs. Donkey Kong, you do not get any of that horizontal movement, and it feels very
Right.
stilted by comparison. So I think that they could update that. And also, the last thing with Mario's movement, what would you call it? Like the backflip or the side flip kind of movement? That is way harder to pull off in Mario vs. Donkey Kong than it is in...
Yeah, it's been a long time since I played MVDK, but I think I remember that at least.
But yeah, I think that could be updated a little bit. And, I mean, there are other problems with the game, in my opinion. I think that the levels go on too long because they're kind of broken up into two distinct sections now.
But that's more so like a function, like a development versus like something they can actually fix.
Right, exactly. Like that's just not something you can change about the game. So I hope that maybe improving the physics and making it feel a little bit more fun to just move Mario around will do a lot to help this game. I will also say, so I got to the credits, right? And I said, I am done with you, Mario versus Donkey Kong. I do not like you. I was pretty frustrated with the game by the time I got to the end. Then it showed that there were bonus levels. I'm like, am I going to do this to myself? I started playing them. The bonus levels are like 100 times better than the main game. And I think it kind of shows a lack of vision with what they wanted to do with this game. Because in the first set of levels, you have them broken up into two parts, right? The first part works like a normal DK94 level. And the second part is more of a traditional Donkey Kong level where it's just get to the end of the stage. Get to this point on the stage. Then the bonus levels take it in a completely different route where now you're like having the mini Marios kind of follow you along and you have to save them from harm. So it's like three distinct styles that they couldn't decide on, so they just kind of put them all in the game.
And then they just threw that all away for the sequels.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So again, that's not something you can necessarily fix, but I do think there's a lot of cool ideas, and especially in that latter half. So if they're able to fix some of the physics things, we could have a pretty cool game on our hands. And the thing that I'm happy about as far as them remaking this one is just how many people didn't even know about this style of Mario game.
Yeah.
A lot of the reactions I saw online were like, "Oh, this is that puzzle game where you make the bridges and stuff."
Right. It's like no, it's like this is before those.
Yeah, there was a whole different thing that was going on the Game Boy Advance and Game Boy, and now we're introducing people to that style again. Maybe that'll direct people to Donkey Kong 94, and I'll be happy because that game needs more attention.
Maybe they'll put that on the Switch Online soon too. Then
honestly,
yeah,
why isn't it on there?
Yeah, it should be. Or if anything, maybe it's like a bonus unlock, like in the.
Oh my god!
Like, I mean, it's probably not gonna happen knowing Nintendo. Like, they're not that cool anymore. But like, imagine
that would be incredible.
Yeah,
that would be super cool. Wow. If that's not in the game, I'm going to be really disappointed.
Look at me raising expectations again.
Anything else to say about Mario vs. Donkey Kong?
No, I'm just a little surprised they're doing like a full like handheld game like remake on Switch.
Yeah,
like, as a full-fledged title.
Actually, I'll say this too, because the original game uses like pre-rendered graphics, and now we're getting like full 3Ds, which is super appropriate.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Yeah,
and I think it'll look really nice. It'll look how the game was always supposed to. I
just want to see DK like scrolling through channels again on his couch. It's like, ooh, look at those toys.
Yeah, those cutscenes are pretty fun.
Yeah.
All right, the next thing of note that I've written down here is Mario RPG. We got to see more of that. So there's two things about this. The boss rematches. That is really cool. I love that they're putting some new content in, and I think that's pretty perfect, just like new, harder bosses. The other thing, though, that I think is a little bit more controversial are there appears to be like the difficulty has been brought down just a little bit. You can now damage multiple enemies by perfectly timing attacks, which I think is fun, but it is different than how the original game was.
So I have a little something to say about that, though, which I don't know if it's something you had seen, but I had seen someone had posted some screenshots from like the Japanese release of it. Two things of it. One, it seems like you can change the soundtrack.
I saw that. That is super cool.
The other one is that it appears to be one of the settings appears to be you can change difficulty as well.
Really?
Potentially. I haven't seen like a full translation of that, but that's what like from what I'd seen, it sounds like there's a way to like change difficulty. So that might, if that's the case, that might help out with your opinion on it being too easy.
That is so un-Nintendo.
Yeah.
To give you difficulty options for like a game like this.
Right. Again, it might not be the case because I haven't seen it since.
This is the case. Thank you, Jordan.
You're
I'm excited for this. DK94 remake and difficulty options in Mario RPG. Wow. Thank you for all these exclusives.
I know the soundtrack one for sure is confirmed because like I think they're like it was like in the video it's like it had like the remake soundtrack and then they changed it on the fly to the original soundtrack. So that one at least like I can say for certainty.
That's super cool. Part of me was thinking it would be neat if you were able to switch your visuals between the original Super Nintendo and the new HD ones. Even though I'd probably play with the HD because it looks so nice. But the soundtrack, I think that's more essential because I don't know. That's like one of the main things about Mario RPG is the soundtrack is just killer.
Because who do you remember who did the soundtrack? I thought it was the one lady that did the Mario and Luigi series.
I mean that sounds correct, but I actually don't know.
That's fair. I'm like I couldn't remember offhand myself, so I didn't know if you knew.
But yeah, the music is great.
Oh, it's so good.
So that's gonna be really cool. Yeah, and then it was confirmed that like those animations we saw in the previous trailer, those are like special moves that occur, which I saw speculation about that when that trailer came out, and it was 100% correct that depending on what party members you have, you build up this meter now, and it's a brand new super move, and that looks pretty neat.
I think it looks kind of cool. Plus, we can see like different combinations of like three characters. Yeah. I think it would be pretty neat.
Oh, for sure. Again, that does sort of tie into the difficulty, but since we have now confirmed that very hard mode is in the game.
Extreme difficulty.
That's not something we have to worry about.
Yeah.
All right, then we got Princess Peach Showtime. So this is a weird one. This is the first Peach game we've got since Super Princess Peach, which was a controversial title, and hasn't exactly been like... one that I hear talked about like a fan favorite of the series by any means.
I don't think I've ever really heard many people talk about it in general. So.
Exactly, yeah. This looks pretty cool. It looks very unique. I don't even know what kind of game to compare it to, but basically you have these different plays that you go into, and then you have the gameplay completely changes, and now it's a action game. Now it's a detective game.
Right,
now it's some cooking
thing.
Honestly,
I love the outfits as well, honestly.
Yeah,
it looks so good.
I was thinking that, come Smash 6, Peach could have a very interesting moveset if they wanted to mined from this game at all.
I mean, they might just go the easy route and just have them be like alternate costumes. But I'd love to have her have like alternative like play styles.
For sure. Yeah, I don't know. It's super fascinating. I'm excited to hear more about it and exactly how it plays. Something that I kind of noticed, and I've seen a few other people pick up on this too, is that visually it kind of has like Luigi's Mansion 3 vibes. I wonder if this is a next level games thing. Just the partially the perspective, which is like that same, I don't know what you would call that camera exactly.
Like pseudo 2D, I guess?
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, it's like you're looking at a stage play, but that's very similar to how Luigi's Mansion is set up at the same time. And then, you know, the visuals look nice. I think it's kind of funny that the main antagonist's name is just Grape.
Yeah. It's like,
I had to listen to that back a few times, like the Wicked Grape.
You're like, hold on a second.
Did I hear that right? But looks pretty gorgeous. And I think that this has the potential to be super cool. The Kung Fu Peach, I'm all about that.
Oh, absolutely. I'm like, listen, we need more Kung Fu in this.
For sure. And I want to see what other kind of gameplay styles there are, because they did, I think, say that there are more.
Yeah, they mentioned that there's more costumes and stuff to explore and like uncover.
Yeah, very intriguing game. It makes a little bit more sense now why they announced it, I guess, in the June Direct, because we know there's going to be a game about Peach.
Yeah,
we know it has something to do with a stage play. So then they were able to really just get that information out, and people seem to be pretty interested by it.
Yeah.
But speaking of like Luigi's Mansion, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, which I think the biggest takeaway from this is that they are ditching the Dark Moon subtitle.
I'm still kind of not sure why they're doing that, at least for the North American market. But I know, isn't it like everywhere else is just Luigi's Mansion 2?
Was it Luigi's Mansion 2 in Europe as well? I actually don't know. I know in Japan it was.
Yeah, I think it is, but I could be wrong about that.
It's an interesting change, but I kind of get it because... Well, I guess I never understood why they decided to have the Dark Moon title in North America in the first place. They should have just called it Luigi's Mansion 2 everywhere. So I'm kind of happy about it being more consistent now. And it also looks like it runs a ton better than when we saw it in the June Direct. Yeah. So I'm happy to see that. This is also, I think, the furthest out as far as release dates go. I think this is summer 2024.
Yeah, I'm like, it seems like that should be something you could release sooner, but... Yeah,
and also summer is a little odd. I mean, this is kind of like very basic, but like October, like around the October month seems like, or fall would be an appropriate time for Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
But I guess we're getting it in the summer. And it's also interesting because if you'll recall, in the last years of the 3DS, we got Luigi's Mansion 1 port.
Right.
So is this something that Nintendo's just going to do?
Just like everyone, no, nice console, and then but oh yeah, Luigi's Mansion 3 port. Like, hold on.
There you go. Looks good, but I don't think there's a ton to say about it.
Yeah,
and it is interesting that it's releasing so late. Here, this is what ended up being probably the big moment of the Direct for me personally. F-Zero 99.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting one to come out of nowhere.
Have you played this one yet?
A little bit, yeah.
I love this.
It is chaotic.
This is so cool. I've only won one race so far.
Right.
And it was insane. It is just so fast and like frenetic and just like adrenaline pumping. It's wild that they were able to get so much out of the original Super Nintendo release. And okay, first of all, I guess to address the elephant in the room, so to speak, this is not probably what a lot of F-Zero diehards were hoping for.
Yeah, definitely not.
They wanted like a GX follow-up or remaster. But for someone like me whose experience with F-Zero really is like the Super Nintendo game primarily. I've played the other ones, but the Super Nintendo one is the one I spent the most time with. This is super cool. I think it ended up working. It's like very appropriate for F-Zero, which is like a death race, essentially.
Already frenetic in itself.
Yes, exactly. And I always thought it was interesting how in the original game you'll have like the main people you're racing against, right? But there'll just be like other like cars that are more like obstacles on the...
just randomly coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. Where are these coming from? They've taken that idea and it's like, what if those were all other people?
Right.
That's really cool. Maybe most surprisingly, though, the game runs really well. I have not had any sort of hiccups with it, and it seems way more complex than any of the previous 99 games.
Right.
So that's fascinating. I mean, most of the time, like Tetris, Pac-Man, and Mario 35. You have your screen and everyone else is kind of in their own window, and they can subtly affect your gameplay.
Whereas this is like you're all on the same one.
Yeah, you're all on the same one, and it feels like it runs better than any of those other games. And it's also just a little bit more straightforward, which I appreciate. Pac-Man 99 especially, like what is actually going on in that game never really clicked with me.
Yeah.
Like you were influencing the other player's experience somehow, but how exactly that's happening isn't totally clear.
I never really played too much of Pac-Man 99, honestly.
I thought that one was pretty bad, like straight up. Mario 35, that one again is like you're sending enemies to other people's screens, but that's not as like direct as slamming them into the side of a barrier in F-Zero, you know, like, or it's still there's a degree of separation.
Yeah, or like it's like you clearly can like have something like junk levels or like junk things up,
to some like impersonal other rando. But here, this person's like smashing against you,
like
and
right there. It's like,
them.
no, get out of here.
I think that's great. I really have been loving the tournament mode, and I wish I could just play that constantly, where you get to play the entire first league from the Super Nintendo game straight through, and people are falling off, and like by the end, it's just like 20 people. It's that's so exciting.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's surprisingly full featured. The ability to customize your car and unlocking different decals for it in different color schemes. I found out that the practice mode, not only is it a practice mode, but it's a time trial mode where you can unlock different backgrounds for your pilot card.
Oh, that's actually pretty sick.
I'm loving this. This is like the most effort that I feel like they've put into any one of these. Tetris is up there too.
Yeah.
But it's also a lot more simple. It's like, okay, we're releasing a new theme. The blocks are a slightly different shape, and there's a new background image. This is like the amount of detail, because, you know, everything's sprite-based still, but every angle of the car has to, work with that new color scheme and stuff, and with those decals. It's so meticulous. And then just, it's beautiful looking. Bringing F-Zero into widescreen makes a huge difference. You get like the, I don't know if you've heard of like HD Mode 7. It's a feature in some emulators now.
I know. I think like BeastNet HD is the one that I use, and I think it's got that in there.
This kind of reminded me of that with how the game's presented. I think it's more of like a real 3D environment that you're racing in now, rather than the kind of the fakery of Mode 7 or whatever. But it looks great, and it looks very accurate to the original game at the same time. And the UI, the user interface, is just full of little details. I like how they took like basically images from the manual and repurposed that for the announcer man and all that stuff.
I do need to like go through it a little bit more, because I basically just played it like the day of that it came out, and I haven't touched it since then.
That's fair. It's been hard to put this one down for me.
I don't blame you. It seems pretty addictive.
It's really cool. I like how it rotates between the Grand Prix team battles, where you're like, there's pink and green cars, and you're trying to see which team can
probably have the most people by the end.
Most people by the end, hit the most other players out. Okay. There's a bunch of different things that it does to tabulate your score, and then there's pro tracks, so you get to kind of preview the tracks that they'll eventually add into the game, I imagine, from like the Queen Cup and King Cup and all that. Just super cool. Another thing I want to mention briefly about this is that there's a rival system. So you go into a race, and it picks out 4 similarly ranked players to you. And it calls them your rivals. And as long as you beat them, it increases your rank XP.
Oh, that's cool.
You don't need to get first. I mean, it's fun to get first. You want to get first.
You just have to beat those guys.
You just have to beat these people. I think that's a really cool way to make it less frustrating than something like Tetris, where it's like you're playing and you're like, your eyes are like wide open.
And you're like, I have to get number 1. This one, it's like number 1 would be cool. Just at least beat these 4 losers and you're good.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a really smart way to make it a little bit less frustrating.
Yeah,
I only have good things to say about this. I hope that they continue to update it. I have this. This is like an actual insane brain situation, but I'm like, 2 things actually. First of all, if this is popular enough, it'd be a very appropriate time for them to bring back the F-Zero 2 courses.
Yeah.
Because there was a sequel to F-Zero on Satellaview, which had a whole new league.
Okay, yeah.
And bring those courses in for the first time into this game and actually have a way to play them. Because I don't think we're ever going to see just a straight-up re-release of the Satellaview game.
No,
it's just
definitely
not going to happen. But this would be a way to bring those courses in. That'd be really cool. And my other thing was, I'm like, what if they add new cars to the game?
Yeah.
They could put Mario from Mario Kart on Super Nintendo as a F-Zero racer.
That'd be funny.
I feel like that'd be cute.
Yeah.
Again, this is insane things down the road, but it seems to be hitting pretty well with everybody, and especially streamers.
Oh, I believe it.
That's all I have to say about F-Zero 99. Good game. I'm gonna play it more after this podcast, honestly.
I'm hoping since it's doing so well that they might consider doing a remaster or even a brand new game for the series.
You do have to wonder if this is some sort of test run. Do people care about F-Zero still? Let's put this out.
Yeah.
Or maybe even get new people interested in the series who've never really messed with it before. Because that's something I've been seeing a lot of too in YouTube comments. I never really cared about F-Zero, but I tried this one and I love it.
Yeah, so maybe they'll actually go back to the original games and try those out then.
Yeah. Aside from the implications for the F-Zero franchise, the biggest thing is that maybe Nintendo will start reconsidering what they do with these 99 games. Because I think that aside from Tetris, the other ones were not quite a good fit for this Battle Royale mode. And maybe now they really hit on to it with this one. Yeah, they'll pick more appropriate.
Yeah, because racing is definitely very, very appropriate for for any sort of Battle Royale anyways.
Right. Okay. The last of the major things, Paper Mario, the Thousand Year Door. I couldn't believe this. I couldn't believe this was real.
Yeah, you're hold on. It's is this actually happening? Are they just tricking us, or?
It's weird.
Yeah.
It makes a little bit of sense just because they're remastering so many GameCube titles.
Yeah. GameCube was pretty hot, being hot on being remastered a lot.
Yeah. I think it's because, people our age now are having our nostalgia pandered to. Nintendo's we can pander to these losers.
Yeah,
and they're right.
Yeah, they're right. It's working.
So here's a few things, because I have some hot takes, potentially. I think that they're lukewarm takes at best, but first of all, it looks really nice. The visuals are very solid. But I am annoyed by this.
Okay.
The game runs at 30 frames per second, which is half the frame rate of the GameCube version.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Now, I understand it's 30 frames per second is not unplayable. Yeah. There are plenty of games that run at 30 frames per second, but it annoys me because the original was 60.
Yeah.
And that I've yet to have it explained to me in a way that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Why a game from 20 years ago is now half as performant as it was back then.
Yeah, see, for me, if it was standard 30, if it came out as 30, I don't really care if it's 30 or 60.
I agree. Yeah, 100%.
But if it I agree is that if it was originally 60, but they bumped it down to 30, it's that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it creates a weird divide now where the GameCube one is the best one to play for performance, and the Switch version is the best one to play for visuals.
Yeah,
and I just don't like that. I feel like if you're getting a remake, that should be the definitive version now. And that's a little bit disappointing. I'm still going to get it.
Yeah.
And I'm still excited for it. But I do see some potential issues because it is a turn-based RPG.
Right.
However, it is a timing-heavy turn-based RPG, especially if you're doing super guarding.
Oh, yeah.
That is actual Twitch reflexes kind of stuff.
You need to have those frames, the frame-perfect movements.
Exactly. So I'm curious. However, there may be a little gleam of hope here.
Okay.
And this is where the conspiracy theories start. Have you heard about these?
No.
So, in the trailer, and I noticed this too, but I didn't make the connection. It's showing some of the action commands, right?
Yeah.
And the A button is red. Also, the partner switch button is yellow. Or not yellow, green.
Okay.
Now, you're like, what is he going on about? Is he okay?
Get on with it. Let's go.
All the colors from that trailer, and they broke it down with the other ones too, match up with the Super Famicom controller's color scheme.
Okay.
The implication could be that the next-gen Switch hardware uses these colors, and this could be a cross-gen release. In which case, the Switch 2 version could be 60 frames per second with, with ray tracing too. I don't know. Whatever the Switch 2
Get out of here with your ray tracing. We're not doing this.
It's going to have. That is very intriguing to me. And they noticed this because Mario RPG also has the same. But that was that way with the Japanese original release. But there's another game too. I can't remember. I think it's Ys. Is also now using these button color schemes in their Switch version. And supposedly, I don't know how true this is,
Yeah.
but supposedly developers have been told by Nintendo to start color coding their games this way for some reason.
Interesting.
Which it would make sense in some way, because if you'll remember, the new 3DS also used that Super Famicom color scheme for their buttons. So if we're getting some sort of iteration on the Switch, for them to use that color scheme would make some sort of sense. But yeah, that's the button conspiracy theory. Taking away way too much from this.
I also have a bit of a slight hot take as well.
Oh my god.
They've removed the Fire Emblem Toad.
I saw that.
Yes. Because there's the
That's interesting.
Yeah, because what's the town that he's in? I don't remember the name of it.
Isn't it the one where you meet Koops?
Yeah.
I forget what that's called.
Yeah, but basically, like, there's the Toad that's just like, hey, like, I've been playing this cool new game, like, they call Fire Emblem, like, they took him out, so we can't have him talking about Fire Emblem, or potentially even Fire Emblem the game. Like, it would have been perfect.
This means that Fire Emblem
is dead. Is dead to Nintendo.
Yeah.
They hate it now.
Heroes just cost like $1 billion or whatever, and they're like, yeah, Fire Emblem's done.
Yeah, fuck that game.
Overall, despite my gripes about the frame rate, this is a very exciting release, and I'm very happy for fans of this game who've been demanding this for so long now.
Yeah.
And hey, then you'll have, here's a hot take, the two best Paper Mario games on Switch.
I don't think it's a hot take at all. Well,
Origami King and Thousand Year Door. He thought I was talking about the
the
N64
original is
version.
also on Switch as well, though.
It is also. I meant Origami King, though.
Well, I'm retracting that statement then.
I think this might actually be running in the same engine as Origami King, which is
that would make sense.
Interesting. All right, but I think that's all we can really say about it at this point. I don't think we have a solid date other than 2024.
Yeah, they just generic release date.
I imagine pretty late, since they're not even giving us a window there. Okay, a couple other minor things to quickly go over here. Got some Mario Kart 8 DLC. They're putting Funky Kong in the game. Funky mode.
New funky mode. Let's go.
Peachette is in the game as well.
I'm not surprised that they're bringing her in.
I'm a little surprised why Peachette. I thought that's such a weird character that I thought for sure would just be forgotten about after.
Nope.
I feel like Bowsette has permanently ensured
Yes, they scarred your brain as well.
We can never forget. In the Japanese Direct, though, it was revealed that it's going to get like a packaged release of like Mario Kart DLC Deluxe Plus expansion pack in a physical form.
I kind of hope we get that, but I don't know if we're going to.
Well, what I heard, and again, who knows how much of this is true, is that it's not like a code in a box situation. It's not like, Mario Kart Deluxe plus like a voucher.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a weird halfway thing where it's the first 5 waves are on the cart, and then you have to download wave 6.
Interesting.
Which is a little lame to me, because I would like to have it all be on a physical release for preservation's sake.
Yeah.
Either way, I might end up importing this one, because I do care about owning this, because right now I only have it through the what do they call it? Do they just call it the expansion pack?
Well,
Whatever.
they're the family plan.
The family plan expansion.
Yeah.
N64 lets you play N64 games.
That thing's
whatever. And I would like to actually own that DLC.
Yeah.
They announced a new Contra game, Contra Operation Guluga,
which I kind of like because it's OG and it's the original Contra.
Is it the original Contra? It's just a remake.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a brand new game.
They said that it's a remake of the original Contra, which is why they're calling it Operation Guluga, which is because it's Contra OG.
Oh,
yeah. Which I'm like, I thought you were gonna pick up on that, but
no, I just think Galuga's a funny word.
It is also a funny word.
That's interesting. I did hear, and I can't derail the conversation, partly because I don't know enough about the situation, but I did hear this is being done in Unity. And recently, there was a huge fucking shit show with Unity.
Oh, yeah.
Which maybe we'll talk about that some other time after the dust has settled a little bit. But yeah, I wonder how that'll all play out.
But I'm excited, though, because it's being done by WayForward, who also did Contra 4. And I know that was very well received.
Yes. Incredibly cool-looking game on DS. Trombone Champ. Man, I'm so tempted to get this one.
Like, I'm of two minds, because, like, I kind of want to get it, but, like, I know, like, the modding scene on PC is insane.
Yeah.
Because like on the PC release, like I've seen someone have like the character look like Sephiroth while doing like the One Wing Angel theme. But at the same time, though, with the Switch release, utilizing the Joy-Con, not only like just like motion control, but like the IR sensor, which I don't think I've ever seen any other game use the IR sensor. But using it to like play like the trombone by like your hand movement, like that is amazing.
It's the first game to make proper use of that functionality.
and it's this late in the game, and I love it.
It's got 4-player as well.
I like every time like I look at it, like I hear that portion, like it is such a mess, and I absolutely adore like how chaotic it sounds.
I'm just imagining a guy inviting his friends over for Trombone Champ on Switch,
and like they all have to use the IR sensor. I love it. It's so dumb, and I love it.
That was a highlight to me just because of the interesting use of a controller feature. It's been so long since I've been impressed by one.
Right.
And it's like really stupid too.
Yeah, because like I think like I remember hearing that like there was an IR sensor. I'm like, okay, cool. What's that ever going to be used for? Now we have the perfect use for it.
It might have been used in like 1-2 Switch, and it is actually being used in another game that they showed at the Direct, which is I'll go to that one next. Actually, WarioWare.
Oh, is it?
Yes, it is being used in some micro games for the new WarioWare.
Okay.
The only reason I brought this one up, actually, is just because we got a little bit of the new voice actor for Wario. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely like a downgrade over Charles. Yeah. I think it's, again, we're just going to have to get used to it. Yeah. But it's not that classic Wario voice. I kind of miss it a little bit. Yeah. But other than that, the game looks fine. Yeah. Another Code. Did you know anything about these games before?
I never really played Trace Memory originally. I don't really have much to say. I do know like the Wii sequel was Japan and Europe only. Yeah,
they were saying that. I think that's cool. I'm all about them bringing these more niche games to America finally. Yeah. I think that like another one that I've been hoping they would do is Shin Onigashima.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That was referenced in Pikmin 4 too, so I feel like it really needs it.
Right.
We got Famicom Detective Club, obviously, which this kind of gives me shades of that kind of release. Yeah. So I think it's cool. I don't know if I'll play this one.
Yeah, I don't know if I will either, but it is cool to see it coming back again.
For sure. And the last thing on the minor notes here is Among Us.
Among Us.
Finally, Among Us is getting a new map.
Imposter. Sus.
Does anyone care about Among Us anymore? It was like one of the last reveals of the Direct.
I've never played a single game of Among Us. I'll be completely honest. I just like the memes.
This was weird. I'm just like, they're really putting this in the Direct. Nintendo is still like a couple years behind occasionally. Like, the kids like Among Us, right?
Yeah.
Put Among Us in the Direct.
Among Us.
It's because Imposter is going to be in Smash 6.
Absolutely, 100%. His final Smash is literally just yelling sus and ejecting someone out.
Right. Okay. The final thing on the Direct here that I wanted to go over quickly is what we didn't see.
Okay.
So these are things that are confirmed or whatever to some degree. So we have some degree of knowledge about them, but we didn't see them in here. First one's Mario Wonder. This makes sense because we just got the Direct.
I'm like, we literally just had its own dedicated one like not too long ago.
I think it made sense not to bring it up again. Metroid Prime 4.
How many years has it been since we last heard about that?
It was announced the year the Switch came out. The same E3 as Odyssey. No, it was like the second Odyssey trailer or something. But like that first Switch E3, 3DS games were still being released.
Like Prime 4, where is it at?
I really thought that was going to be the final announcement. Yeah. And then they were like, no, we're doing Paper Mario, which honestly is a little bit more exciting anyway. We did not hear anything about Game Center CX. That those games are being brought back. I thought maybe we would get a localization as Retro Game Master. Yeah. That's not happening, unfortunately, which is... I mean, it could still happen. Maybe just it wasn't announced in the Direct, but I'm getting a little less hopeful about it. Yeah. No new NSO Classic titles. We got F-Zero 99, which is really cool. But we're still waiting on, Mario Party 3 is an announced one. Where's Donkey Kong 94, as we mentioned earlier? The answer is it's in Mario versus Donkey Kong for Switch. There's still so many games that have not been released. Especially the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, there's a lot of Game Boy Advance ones that they announced that haven't come out yet either.
Like, what the hell, man? It's just Game Boy Advance stimulation.
I know. It ain't that hard. It's not that deep.
This is so weird. I wonder if we'll get something next month, because that's when everyone has to pay Nintendo our hard-earned wages for their shitty service.
Right.
Tears of the Kingdom DLC, that wasn't there because they announced that Tears of the Kingdom isn't getting any.
Yeah.
Which, this is the phrase of the episode. I'm of two minds about this. Yeah. On the one hand, I have not really been returning to Tears of the Kingdom anyway, and the idea that we're just getting a brand new kind of Zelda, honestly, is more exciting to me than staying around in the Breath of the Wild world much longer.
Right.
But also, you know, Zelda's fun. Yeah. I could use some DLC for it,
so
you know?
Give you an excuse to go back to it.
Hopefully this means that a new Zelda isn't too far away, that they've already started on it. I don't know. And then the last thing, you know, obviously we didn't hear anything about Switch 2.
Right.
And whenever that's going to happen, who knows? I'm pinning it to this year. At some point we'll get an announcement, but I didn't expect it to be this direct anyway. That didn't seem like an appropriate venue.
Say maybe like towards the end of the year, possibly.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to the weekly question. And with all the remakes and stuff, this is the question I wanted to pose to you, Jordan.
Okay.
What game would you like to see ported to the Switch still? So we're many years into the Switch. There's a lot of ports on Switch, but what do you want to still see on Switch?
I'm trying to think, because there's quite a few that I would like, but I don't know how they would work out. Like, as an example, like I'd love to see like Kid Icarus Uprising on Switch. Yeah. I don't know how well they would like translate that, or if they'd just do like a straight up like twin stick.
I really want that one because I never got to play the 3DS game.
It's so good. The control scheme does take some getting used to. It is kind of clunky.
Yeah.
But like it's a lot of fun once you get a hang of it.
Sure.
And plus the story, it's just so much fun. It's so funny.
I mean, it's a Sakurai game.
Yeah.
He's a master.
He is. It's so good.
So I got two here that I wrote down. It was kind of hard to decide because now that we're in Switch 2 territory, I'm like, some of these I kind of want to hold off.
Yeah.
For Switch 2. For Switch 2, by the way, Luigi's Mansion with ray tracing. 4K ray traced Luigi's Mansion 1. That game's lighting still looks incredible. What they could do now with like the supposed ray tracing capabilities of Switch 2, which have been leaked.
Yeah.
Who knows how accurate this is again, but I don't know, that sounds really neat to me. But again, that's waiting for Switch 2.
Right.
On the current Switch, I think that putting Beautiful Katamari on there would be a good idea. We've got the first two, and that one is like kind of the cutoff for me where I, you know, after that I don't really care for the series so much, but those first three are pretty fun. And Xbox 360 for me anyway is kind of a pain to integrate into my setup. Yeah. So I'd rather just have it on Switch. And then I also was thinking Wario Land Shake It. Yeah. I look over at my shelf, I'm like, there it is. I could play it right now. But I have to turn on the Wii U and then the Wiimote. I don't like that controller too much. It'd be nice to have a new way to play that. And it apparently is like the best in the series, which is saying a lot because the Wario Land series is extremely high quality.
Yeah, like I know you love Wario Land 4.
Oh, that's my favorite one. So those are my two main ones. It'll be interesting to see what the very, very last years of the Switch will be like. Like, I think the 3DS got pretty wild and wacky towards the end. We got like a port of Mario Maker, Luigi's Mansion, obviously.
Yeah, had Mario Luigi 1 and 3.
Yeah.
Skipping 2 entirely. Yeah,
Samus Returns as well.
Samus Returns,
a lot of wild stuff. So we could see some interesting stuff still on Switch.
Yeah.
I think that's all. This was a pretty fun discussion. There was a lot more to talk about than I expected there to be, actually. So this was great. Thanks for joining me, Jordan.
Always.
And we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Later.